We peered into the white. White snow, white clouds, white nothingness. The east face of Everest, where our route snaked through gullies, crevasses, and overhanging ice pinnacles, rose 2 miles into the Tibetan sky above. Our small team of 6 had 4 climbers, a photographer, and me, a 25-year-old medical student. The climbers were attempting a new route. They were purists, nimble, using no oxygen or Sherpa support. Joe, our photographer, sat on a blue barrel at Advanced Base Camp and searched through our telescope for the dark outlines of 3 climbers missing on the mountain. His eyes, finely tuned to details and shapes, shadows and forms, focused on the white slope. We'd last spotted the climbers days earlier, tiny dots, ascending toward the summit, creeping over the edge of our route onto the South Col, the link between Tibet and Nepal, east and south, visible and invisible. We distinguished them by the color of their coats and hats, steadily inching up in the bright sunshine. Now, there was no sun, just lackluster white, and our world of waiting felt like groping through darkness, except that everything was flat and stark and still. The tarp of our yellow tent flapped overhead, the wind electric with panic. I stretched out on my belly to Joe's right, propped up on my elbows, and rubbed my dry eyes, willing our friends into view as if desire were a magnet. My teeth chattered and elbows burned from the pebbles dimpling them, so I piled sleeping bags over and under me. Our team's 4th climber, Paul, who'd been forced off the mountain days earlier due to altitude sickness, stood to Joe's left just outside the tent. The 3 of us were on our own route, a route of waiting, tethered as if by climbing ropes. The landscape offered nothing, no tracks in the snow, no blasts of light from their headlamps. 2 flashes for safe, 6 for SOS. With no sign of them by dusk, my hopes for their return dwindled. They were in the death zone, an extreme elevation above 26,000 feet, where oxygen is a fraction of that at sea level, where muscles lag with lethargy, where the brain hungers for oxygen and thoughts stall and sink in a slush of gray matter, where the body rapidly decays and eventually stops functioning. No climber had ever survived more than 3 days in the death zone without supplemental oxygen. We were nearing the end of day 6. Were our friends stranded in the cold, unable to make decisions? Injured? Or had a crushing wave of wind swept them off the mountain? "Be strong. Come back," I whispered into the whirling white.